What's up, YouTube? Okay, so I recorded a video last week, never got a chance to upload it and edit all that kind of thing, so basically I'm redoing it now because there's new things to talk about that we added here, so this one will be a little bit longer. So first off, let's kind of talk about some old news, right? Tariffs are now in effect as of August 29th. So before we had a loophole, we would be able to kind of get around paying tariffs if we brought in under $800 per day, right? That was called the de minimis rule, and as of August 29th, that is gone. So now it does not matter how much you buy. It could be $100, $50. You could be buying a $10 item on Temu, and tariffs will now be due on it. So that kind of puts everybody on even footing now. Before, a lot of big box stores, if they're selling over $800 worth of product a day, they would not be able to afford to just continually bring in under $800 new product. They'd run out, right? So they were always having to pay the tariffs, and smaller businesses like myself were able to kind of get under that $800 and make it. Now that's no longer the case. We're all paying that tariff, so you will see probably a slight increase in prices on all Japanese products, well, any kind of product really, if it's coming out of the country. But as we're talking about, TCG products, I deal with Japanese products. You will see slight product price increases on some of those items. Now, some of those price increases were already kind of built in to current market for a lot of stuff, but if you look on TCG Player, you're going to see prices slowly rising. It kind of started about mid-August. Prices slowly creeping up on a lot of products, Japanese. And if you look at current stock numbers, you see a lot of people that are still selling at like old prices, kind of undercutting what is the current market price. But they have like 1-2 boxes. So if you're looking at a lot of those, there's like maybe 10 to 15 boxes left of those, and then after that you kind of see this little jump happening. So as old product that was brought in before the tariff kind of cycles out, and the new product is now what's available, you will see those price increases taking effect. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. If you see something that's for a good deal, I would jump on that if it's something you're in the market for, because prices will slowly creep up. What we're looking at right now is the tariff is 15%, and then there's an additional 3.5% fee from FedEx, right? So now that every package has to go through custom clearance, that's a lot of extra work. I think they said something like 4 billion packages a year come through, and now every single one of those packages has to be cleared, not just those that are above the $800 threshold. So because of that, DHL, which is one of the major import shipping services, they've kind of pulled back and said, look, we're not looking to kind of do all this right now. We're not going to be importing stuff to the US. So right now it's just going to be FedEx that we have available to us to bring things in from over there. And because of the increased workload, FedEx has said, okay, well, we'll still continue to ship in, but we're going to charge an extra 3.5% on shipping fees for the extra labor that we're going to have to do. So when all is said and done, every product now coming in, it's going to be tacked on to about 18.5% increase to cost to us. So there's that, right? Okay, moving on. So in the market, we've seen a lot of product hitting Target, Sam's Club, even Dick's Sporting Goods is getting stuff. All these big box stores are getting huge amounts of Pokemon allotment. It's like, okay, well, what's going on here, right? And how does that kind of affect the market? So on one hand, it's like, oh, hey, great. They're probably going to be following MSRP, which they have been, right? And so kind of the going theory on this one is Pokemon may be giving more allotments and trying to push more of it toward the big box stores that are going to have MSRP. Now, yes, this sounds great. Now, on the other hand, this can cause some problems, right? Now, let's think about this. Previously, you go to Target, you can get they had some stuff there, and it's whatever. You go to Costco, every now and then they had something special, but it was not like your place to really go if you were looking for Pokemon. You go to your LGS, your local card shop in your town, whatever it is. Now, obviously, they have overhead, right? They have employees, they have rent, bills, this and the other. So they would buy the product from distro, tack on whatever percent they needed, and then put it out there, right? And for years and years and years, this wasn't an issue. Why is it an issue now? Well, consider this. Let's make some numbers more reasonable, right? Say this particular distro has, 100 cases. Say it's 1,000 EBTs, right? They got 1,000 EBTs to give out for this particular wave. Well, before, maybe the Costco's and the Walmarts and whatnot, maybe they would get, 20-30% of it, right? And the LGS stores, they'd be getting the rest of it, right? So maybe this particular LGS store puts their order in and they got 100, right? They normally order, they get 100 ETBs, right? And they made, say, $10 on each ETB. So they sell those 100 ETBs, they made $10 each. Okay, here's $1,000 on that ETB. Okay, they survived off that for years. They survived, right? Again, these are just plain numbers. Now, let's fast forward to today. They're ordering, say, they're telling distro that I want $30,000 worth of these ETBs. And distro's like, cool, I got you. Here's one case, right? There's just not the allotments that they're getting out they were before. So now this store is going to get one case. Say they're going to get 10 ETBs. How are they going to survive? They have 10 ETBs to sell. They're going to make $100. The rent didn't go down. The utility bill didn't go down. Nothing in their expenses went down. In fact, from distro, their cost probably went up. And now they're only getting 10. And they're supposed to somehow make enough money to survive. So when you're looking at it and you say, oh, hey, why is distro not giving them product? Why is it all going to the big box stores, right? And that's a valid question. It's causing problems. Everyone's going to the Costco right now, as we've seen. They're clearing out the Costco's, the Sam's Club, and whatnot. And then now, the local game store that needs to turn a profit to stay in business, they have to make more money off the 10 ETBs they had. Now, because the stores are being cleared out, what happens? You go to TCG Player, you see, oh, hey, look, market price is up. So, of course, the local card shops can see, well, why would I sell this ETB for $60 if market price on it is 80 or 90, right? They need to turn that profit. So they're selling for that, right? So all of a sudden you see the market price is going up on everything. And then they sell their few ETBs and they're like, well, crap, I still need to make more money. So a lot of them are having to source from the secondary market, right? Buying in bulk, taking a few dollars off here and there where they can, based on that deal, and then trying to turn around and sell that and make, $5 or $10 more or whatever it is on top of that to kind of, get some oxygen and stay in the business. So that's kind of what's happening right now, right? As we're looking at Mega coming up, that's going to be coming out here officially on the 26th, about another week and a half. What we're hearing is that for that print allotment, it's slightly higher than Destined Rivals, right? So we're like, oh, hey, yay. We're going to get more of that than we did Destined Rivals. Hold up. There's a catch. It's being divided into 2 waves. Okay? So, you got wave 1, and then probably, 2, 3, 4 weeks after that, you hit wave 2. So, how's that going to work, right? For wave 1, it's going to come out. We already know, right? A lot of this allotment is going to the bigger box stores. It's going to get gobbled up 2 seconds if the bots don't get it online first from their online drops, because they still have not figured out a good way to stop bots. Unbelievable, right? These huge companies should be able to have the wherewithal, the knowledge by this point after having done it so many times, and the money to figure out how to stop bots. They haven't. But at any rate, we already know it's going to get gobbled up, right? The LGSs are going to get a tiny, minuscule amount. So they're going to have to raise their price to make their money. Everybody's going to see that price. So everybody that gobbled it up at the stores is now going to be selling at that price minimum, right? Usually right now we're looking at easily 2 times MSRP. That's just kind of how the game goes. And then you're going to see that market price settle, right? So let's just say, for example, just say this ETB is $100, right? Let's just go make it a nice round number. Say the ETB is $100 on market, right? Say MSRP is somewhere closer to 50 or 60. And you're having to buy it for $100 on the secondary market. Wave 1. So now wave 2 is coming out, right? Say, oh, hey, more product is coming out. And you may see a slight drop in the price, right, as usual. But then now we say, oh, okay, well, this is wave 2. We don't know when the next wave is coming, right? So if you don't get it now, the price is going up. The baseline now is set at 100. So now don't be surprised if you see it go even higher than that, right? Take a slight dip and then shoot up even higher, because now it's like, hey, this is it. We don't know when the wave 3 is going to come. So this is going to be a problem, right? I personally, I think it's going to cause a price inflation because of this split up with the wave. I can maybe kind of understand what their thought process was behind this. Maybe try to say, hey, there's a wave 1, and then you have a second opportunity to try to get on wave 2. I just don't think it's really going to play out in terms of affecting the market the way that maybe that they're hoping that it will. But we'll have to see, right? I could be wrong. Now a lot of people are saying, well, why can't they just print more, right? They know this is going to be popular sets. Why don't they print more? They are printing. They're printing at 100% capacity, right? They have third parties. They have all their print runs just going 100% of the time. That's probably why we see so much of a reduction in quality right now in the cards, because they're just churning and burning, right? You say, well, how could they be printing at max capacity and we don't have product, right? There's just simply too much demand, right? Look how much prismatic evolution product has been printed, right? Constantly ETBs and booster bundles and blooming waters coming out and hitting, right? For the 151s and whatnot. You don't think they're printing those? Right now, that's so much of their reprinting allocations is going to those two sets, right? But we still have tons of sets that we should be seeing more of that we're not, right? We just saw a Twilight Masquerade ETB print hit, right? But it's been how long since our last one? And who knows how long till we see any more? But, where's Shrouded Fable? Where's Obsidian Flames? Where are all these other sets that we should still be seeing, because they're still in their print cycle, and we're just not, right? There's just not the time to be printing those other sets. And now we're moving on, right? Black and White is coming out. We're still waiting for more Destined Rivals at the market, because demand for that is still high. Mega's coming out here in about a week and a half, right? And then where are we looking forward into November for Phantasmal Flames, right? So we have all these sets coming out. We have tons of sets that are still in print runs that who knows when we're going to see any of those allocations and printing time be devoted to those. And we're already looking ahead to the next ones, right? Phantasmal Flames is going to be wild, right? It's Mega Charizard. So you don't think they're going to be trying to print those to high heaven because they know the demand's going to be there? And then don't forget, next year, what do we got? 30th anniversary, right? You don't think they're going to be trying to make sure they have lots of allotments of those? Of course they are. There's just simply not the ability for them right now to print everything to the current demand. So kind of combine that with now they're saying there's going to be 2 waves of this. I think we're going to have a problem pricing wise. I don't expect the market to get any better for that. I'm sorry if you were hoping that that would be the case. I just don't see it happening. And again, maybe I'm wrong, but that just kind of seems to be where I would think that the current data indicates that the market will go. Okay, and then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is, and again, this kind of plays into why I think the market is going to be more problematic moving forward. The Wall Street Journal, if you haven't seen it, has given, they put an article out the other day, and basically they're saying that it's kind of been legitimizing what we've all kind of been seeing the last few years, and if you said it out loud prior, you were kind of laughed at, and now it's kind of accepted as, well, yeah, it's probably right, and that would be the fact that sealed Pokemon is now being considered as a legitimate investment option for your portfolio diversification, right? So before it was like, okay, if you were going to invest in something, your stocks, bonds, gold, things like that, right? These were considered the standards of if you were going to have a retirement portfolio, an investment portfolio, these are the assets that you would have in it, right? We've seen for a few years now a lot of people that are buying Pokemon products specifically to hold for investments, right? And it's been going well, right? It has outperformed the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones pretty much since it's come out in the early 90s, right? If you were buying sealed product and holding it, it was appreciating at phenomenal rates. performing better than those other asset classes. But if you said that, right, you were kind of laughed at. It wasn't taken seriously. The last few years, that's really kind of taken off, and you've seen people buying massive amounts of product, not to rip, not to sell and put back out on the market, but to hold. And then 5, 10 years later, bring that out when it's gone up, 300-400%, if not more. So we've all seen it, we've all kind of known it, and now kind of, it's been a little more legitimized, right? With them saying, yes, if you're going to have a investment portfolio that's well diversified, sealed Pokemon is now kind of considered a legitimate asset to hold within that. So what's that going to do? It's going to bring in more money from people that are not within the hobby, that are buying it purely as an investment asset in order to diversify the portfolio. So that's just another factor that I think is going to cause, again, the current market that we have to continue to run for a while, and just becoming more problematic for anyone that is trying to get product to enjoy, to collect and rip, and that kind of thing. So I don't want to be all doom and gloom about it, but I do just kind of want to put that out there and give my opinion, my 2 cents on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And, with the new sets that are coming out, are you guys going to be trying to jump on that, or how many of you are going to be stepping back, right? I know right now it's very difficult to try to be a collector in this hobby, right? Unless you have a huge amount of disposable income, or you somehow get really lucky and find it, at your local Target, your Walmart or whatnot. It's hard to get product right now. And I just don't see that getting any easier. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.